Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very, very special guest. Left-handed pitcher in the Dodgers organization, Justin Chambers, joins Dodgers Daily. Justin, thank you so much for joining.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Super excited to talk to you. I got a chance to talk to Brian Hudson, the young man who you got traded for. Hudson actually had a really good year for Milwaukee, so I knew him pretty well, and then got the trade done and got you in the system. So super excited to kind of complete that circuit and get to meet you too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start right there. Let's jump into that. You got drafted right out of high school, and so you got introduced to, baseball is a business real early. Talk about that trade and what it was like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. During the fall league, I had some interviews, got to talk about it, but it was just such a weird thing. I didn't know the business side of baseball yet. All I knew was going through rehab with the Brewers, and then one day I got the phone call, got the trade, and I was just like, okay. This was just something I wasn't prepared for. I had no idea that it was a possibility getting traded that young. I didn't know it happened, but I'm glad that things went well, but it was weird, that baseball side of it, the business side of it.
Yeah. So you're 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
So you've already gone through a rehab and a trade.
Yeah.
In your professional career.
Yeah. I've done more than most people say they have in the professional aspect of it.
Had you ever been to California?
Yeah, a few times. I have family that lives out there, so we'd go out there for holidays or go on a beach trip or something, just because it's 5 hours away, so it's a drive. But
yeah, so you know your way around. So what's your go-to at the In-N-Out?
In-N-Out, I would get the double, no tomato, add grilled onions, and some animal fries, and a 7-Up.
Yeah, I knew you'd already know. Like you got all the niches down to it and all that. Mm-hmm. So say that one more time.
For the order?
Yes.
Yeah, we get a double, no tomato, add grilled onions, and an animal fry, and a 7-Up.
Did they ever mess it up?
No? I've never had it messed up,
Okay.
Yeah, we have them out here too in Arizona, so get it all the time.
Yeah, fantastic. So you mentioned you're in Arizona. You just got through completing the Arizona Fall League a couple of weeks ago, and I know you had just a tremendous Arizona Fall League. You took that momentum that you gained in Rancho and took it right into the Fall League. So talk about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Facing the better competition, you got the AAA guys, you got a couple guys on 40-mans. It was a little bit scary going into it, especially like my first outing. Like I didn't know what to expect, but I had a really good first outing and kind of just took the confidence from that and kept going. I was like, I deserve to be here. I'm here for a reason. So just kind of did what I did in Rancho, did the same thing in the Fall League, and had good results based off of it.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, we were talking about this off the air before we came on. You're what, 92, 93, you can bump it up. You probably sit 92, 93, but you can bump it up to maybe a 95. Would that be about right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just got to say, man, watching you pitch, I'm looking at them like that's 98, 99. And just the way that hitters react to it, just the way it looks like it headed south to home plate or whatever direction it is based on the facility you're at. But why is it that your fastball plays up so much when it's only 92 to 93 and it looks so much faster than it is? Yeah,
I think location and movement has a big play in that. If I throw it in on a lefty especially, it's just a nightmare AB for him. I have a lot of sink and a lot of horizontal movement arm side and throw from a little bit of a crossfire, so the ball's coming out behind them. And if I start it in on them, it's going to be a broken bat or a swing and a miss. And same for righties. I'll start it in off the corner, try and catch the inside corner on them, and it's just something that they can really never see. And if they do see it, it's too late, and they're breaking their bat on it.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Alex Makarowicz, I believe yesterday, about, in amateur ball, a lot of times it's all about, hey, hit your spots. Then you get into pro ball, and it's like, well, let's actually have starting points. Let's have tunnel points to where we actually start and then let the movement of the pitch figure out what the final location is going to be. So you throw in that sinker, that thing that turns left, all that horizontal movement. Are you trying to hit a final destination in terms of location, or are you throwing to tunneling spots, beginning points, and letting the ball move?
Absolutely. It's a little bit of both there. If I'm facing a lefty hitter and the approach is to work him in, I'll work him in, let him see the sinker in. But then, next thing you know, I'm going to try and make the sweeper look like the sinker that I just threw as much as I can until, next thing you know, it falls off the table, but it's too late, they can't see it. But, and then for righties too, if I'm throwing the sinker away or something, I just throw the changeup that makes it look like the same pitch, but it's 10 miles an hour slower. Next thing you know, they're throwing their bat or rolling it over. You never know. But
Yeah. So you're a big dude, 92, 93. You can touch 95. Have you ever had a coach say, hey, let's go through this program so we can bump you up to 97, 98? Have you ever had that experience?
every off season with the guys I train with, we try and, exceed expectations with that coming into spring training. It's, lift your butt off, try and throw as hard as you can when you go into it. But, I'm more of a pitcher.
Yes.
I like to be 92, 93, touch 95 when I need to. I like to hit my spots. I like to work the off speed. But, it is cool. Like when I was, I think 17, we had a just go let it eat on the mound day and got up to like 96 or something like
Nice.
that. But, I just prefer to be a pitcher. But,
Hmm.
seeing some tick up this year, try and sit 94, 95 instead of 92, 93 would absolutely be a good goal.
So I asked that question for a specific purpose, and that is, one great thing about the Dodgers is that, yeah, they have their metrics and they have this or that, but really what they do is they take what you're capable of doing, what you're best at doing, and they just try to make the best version of that. So that freedom to be yourself, is that something that's helped you thrive in this organization?
Absolutely. Coming off Tommy John, especially, like I didn't know how my throw was going to recover. I didn't know if I was going to be the pitcher I was beforehand, and I ended up not being. Before the surgery and everything, I was forcing fastball, sweeper, changeup, but now, I have the sinker. I throw it full time instead of the four seam. And, I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have the coaches saying, like, hey, try this, try that. I wouldn't have been able to find that sinker. So it's definitely a big thank you to the Dodgers staff for kind of being that way and showing everyone, all the pitchers there, that they don't need to be some certain pitcher that we have in the big leagues. It's all about you. Do what works for you.
Yeah. So that first pitch that you tried to turn left after Tommy John, was that scary? Do you remember that, or is that just something that just came natural?
It came natural for the most part. I'd been throwing for a while, did a pull down phase in that, but
Yeah.
it was just a lot of nerves. Like I didn't know like what happens when I throw this pitch off the mound. Is something going to happen? You never know. You hear people have the little bit of road bumps there, but it felt good. It felt comfortable. About a week into it, I was like, this is just normal again.
Yeah. So the confidence that you pitch with, I mean, it looks like to me, and this is just from afar, but it just looked like your confidence just continued to build as your season went on with Rancho. And by the end of the year, it was like, okay, just give me the ball, let me throw it, let's go. So would that be accurate? And tell us where that confidence came from.
Absolutely. I was stuck in Arizona for so long, which it's great being home and all, but I'd like to see the affiliated ball. And once I got there, a little bit of nerves to start, but once I started throwing and performing well, the confidence just kind of came with it. I'm just, like I said earlier, I deserve to be there. I'm going to show you why I'm here. And every single time I run out to the mound, it's the same thing in my mind. I listen to my walkout song, get a little fire lit underneath me, and next thing you know, I'm punching out the side or whatever it is. But
Not everybody at the low A level gets to work with pitching coaches, two pitching coaches. First of all, that's a kind of a unique thing to the Dodgers. But not only two pitching coaches, both pitching coaches that pitched in the major leagues. And with Tronky, he actually pitched in the playoffs and for the Dodgers. So what's it like getting to work with guys that are just so well trained?
absolutely, I can go to them about absolutely anything. If I felt just a little bit off on the mat, I can come off in between innings and say, "Hey, did you notice anything?" He'll be like, "Yep, way ahead of you. Let's sit down, let's talk about it." And that goes for both of them, even if it's in like throwing before the game. Doesn't matter what it is, they'll notice any little thing that's off, help you fix it, give you drills to fix it. Next thing you know, you're just back to normal.
Yeah. So the analytical part of things, you have every analytical piece of data that you could possibly want. And you have to be careful with that because if you get too far into those weeds, you can paralyze yourself by analyzing way too much. So, and also you came out of high school, so you didn't have probably access to any of that. So this is probably, it's not like you had a buffer period in college to kind of get adjusted to all that data. So how have you used that data? How do you keep it simple enough to where you can still execute? What's that balance for you?
Absolutely. I would use the data after the games. Like
Okay.
if there was something like I said earlier, if that fell a little bit off and coaches noticed it too, I'd go look at the video, go look at the metrics on a certain pitch and say, hey, that's a little bit off. So I'd compare the video. But coming close to a game, I wouldn't do it coming up to a game. It's like you see it, do some drills to work on it and catch play off before the game, whatever. But once it's game time, go do what I know how to do. just kind of zone out from the analytical side of it and just go pitch.
20th round, you were drafted by the Brewers. So we won't get into that. Let's just get into, you pitched for the Brewers organization, at least you're in the Brewers organization, until you came to the Dodgers. And so now you have an experience with two very good organizations. What's the difference between the two, you'd say?
Absolutely. I think coaching is a big part of it. With the Dodgers, I feel like anyone that I wanted to go talk to, doesn't matter if it's a pitching coach, it could be a hitting coach, but they all have something to provide for you to get you better. I didn't get a lot of time to spend with the Brewer staff. I was in rehab the whole time, so I didn't get to do a lot of that. But, I just feel like Dodgers is a good home to have. Like I said, anyone I want to go talk to, they'll give me some analytical advice or whatever it is about, hey, this looks a little off. I'll talk to hitting coaches all the time. Like, hey, you see these opposing teams' hitters, like, what do you got on them? What do you think their approach is?
Yeah. So was Coach Green the coach at Wazoo there whenever you committed to him?
Yep.
Yeah. And then did you decommit whenever he went to Wichita State? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, hey, pretty good decision, Arizona State. Coach Bloomquist is getting ready. I'm telling you, Arizona State's getting ready to be a power with the amount of money they're getting ready to put into that program. Mm-hmm. It's a tremendous destination, not only for young people like you would have been, but also transfers. Watch out. They're getting ready to be back.
Absolutely.
So kind of take us through that and take us through the decision. 20th round, that's one of those deals to where it could go either way. Take us through the decision to go pro instead of to Arizona State.
Yeah, I loved Arizona State. I love everything Willie Bloomquist and the whole staff brought to the table. Had a lot of friends there. A lot of the hometown kids all wanted to go play for Arizona State. And I just, once Coach Green left Wazoo and went to Wichita, I felt like Arizona State was a very good fallback plan. So, I just texted him. He got me the details on what they would do. So then I was kind of there for a couple of weeks with all my buddies, lifting, throwing, whatever it was. But then draft day came. Brewers ended up calling me, selecting me in the 20th round, and the money was right. And I called Bloomquist like, hey, I was really excited to play, but, the money was right here. And he said, absolutely, I would have done the same thing in your position. So.
Okay, so you seem like a young man that has things so squared away that no moment is too big for you. So I know you made your affiliated debut this year, but can you take us through the moment where you walked on the mound the first time and what that was like for you and how all that went?
Yeah, absolutely. I drove in on a Monday off day, and I was like, it came Tuesday, and there's no way I was throwing. I thought we started warming the guy up in the bullpen. I was like, cool, just sitting there chewing some seeds, and then next thing you know, they tell him to sit down, say, Chambers, you got the next inning. And I was super surprised. I had no idea. I had just got here, but I ended up getting to the bump, a lot of nerves, a little bit of shaking going on, but just kind of falls back to that confidence. I mean, obviously going to be a little bit of nerves, but just fight through it, go pitch. And if I can go into it with a clear head, I'm going to do well 100% of the time.
Did you ever have that one, what I call the eureka moment, where you're looking around at the mountains or people in the stands and you go, you know what, this is a pretty big deal, but I'm good enough to be here? Did you have that moment?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, especially we'd go to a new park, like when Fresno was there, they had a pretty packed house, big stadium.
Yeah.
I came in to close out that game and I was looking around. I was like, there's a lot of people here. Like this is a big deal. This is awesome.
15,000.
Yeah, they sure can pack it out. I wish we were there on July 4th. From what I heard, they had full 15,000 people there. But
it's a AAA stadium, yeah.
I think the game that I pitched in, I ended up closing it. The entire Fresno State football team was in the stands, kind of heckling everybody.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. So take us through your pitch mix, your individual pitches. You mentioned the sweeper, the sinker, and all that. So first of all, take us through your mix, and then kind of take us through your go-to sequences. Basically, your generic ones, not too in depth, but maybe to a righty and to a lefty.
Yeah, we could start with the sequence. It's sinker, sweeper for the big two, and then changeup and cutter. But I'm especially working on the changeup, especially throughout the fall league. That was a big one that came around. I started getting a lot of swing and misses with it when I was in the zone or even out of the zone. But sequencing.
So is it a fader, or is it just to pull the string to get strikes?
It's a fader. It's got a lot of depthy vertical movement on it. So
another swing and miss pitch.
Yeah, another swing
going
and
the
miss
opposite
pitch.
Direction of your sweeper.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's
nice.
more of a for the righties. I've never thrown one to a lefty, but it's for the righties if they're if they're on the sinker. I don't want to throw a sweeper into their barrel, fade the changeup away off the plate, make it look like a sinker, and next thing you know, it's a swing and a miss or a ground out.
Nice.
But start with a lefty sequence. I mean, it's sinker sweeper dominant. depending on what it is. If we got a patient guy at the plate, I'm going to throw a sinker away 95% of the time. It's hard to see. They're going to take it almost all the time, especially like I noticed that during the fall, like all these guys that seem to be aggressive, I throw the sinker away, they don't swing at it. So it's just an easy get ahead 0-1. But then after that, I can do anything. If I want to go in with the sinker again, because they haven't pulled the trigger on one yet, do it, see what kind of swing I get off it. If they're late, throw it again, maybe try and throw it on the top of the zone. But if they're on time, that's where I rip the sweeper, make it look like the sinker, like middle in. Next thing you know, it falls off the table and it's a swing and a miss.
Nice.
And
so
then,
that get ahead sinker that you're talking about to a lefty, to the outside corner, is that a ball to strike pitch where you try to start it off the plate and let the tail bring it back over the plate, or is that just on the plate the whole time?
in a perfect world, if I had perfect command, I would start it inch or two off the plate, break it so it's a full strike in the zone, so there's no doubt in the umpire's mind that it was a strike. But kind of just anything in that outer third will work most of the time, just because it looks like a ball the entire way. It looks like it just yanked a sinker outside, but normally it'll always come back with the horizontal movement on it. But it's just always a pretty good go-to 0-0 pitch.
Yeah. So the sinker to a lefty, do you try to end that off the plate, or does that stay on the plate too?
It just depends on who's hitting. If I'm trying to get a ground ball or something, I'll try and leave it a little bit on the plate, try and just get a weak contact ground ball. But if I'm going for the K, I'm going to put it 3-4 inches inside on their hands and see what they do with it. Pretty
skilled that you can manipulate and do things based on the count. That's pretty awesome especially for your age, Justin. So, okay, so you're in Arizona. Talk about your off season. We talked about the Arizona Fall League, but talk about the momentum that you took with you and what your routine is for the rest of your off season and what your goals are.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we had a little bit of a shortened off season with the Fall League, taking us a little bit further in, but it's definitely just first couple months have been get back on track, get lifting heavy again in the season. You're lifting, but you can't lift as heavy as I would in the off season. So it's get strong. And then once it comes late December, January, it's like, let's start throwing hard again. Let's get built up and ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, man, that's all the heavy lifting I got for you. Ready to answer some fun questions?
Absolutely.
More personal. I don't know if they'll be fun. We'll see if they're fun. They might be the opposite. We just lost you right there. We're having so much fun that we're turning our phone off here. Okay, so for those of you who haven't caught on yet, Justin grew up in Arizona. The complex is in Arizona that the Dodgers work out in for spring training. The complex league is in Arizona. You just got to finish the Arizona Fall League. So getting readjusted off the Tommy John back into pro ball, how much of a benefit has it been for you being back home where you're so close to family and in such a familiar environment?
Absolutely. Anytime the season finished, especially the first couple of years, it was a 45-minute drive back home. It wasn't anything too strenuous. And especially with the lifting, I'm 45 minutes away from the complex. Anytime I want to work on something with our Dodgers coaches, I can go do it. It's a very good pleasure to have. It's very convenient for me, especially. And then during the ACL and stuff like that, all my family would come out to games. I could invite friends to the games. Same with the Fall League. So it's just nice being close to home.
So you have access to the Dodgers facility, which are the greatest on earth, and your family's cooking, and you get to sleep in your own bed.
Absolutely.
And you're 20 years old, and you get to be in the warmth every day, and you're a left-handed pitcher for the Dodgers. Did I get all that right?
Yes, sir.
Not too bad to be Justin Chambers nowadays, huh?
Not too bad at all.
Okay. So you're from Arizona, and it's a dry heat. Okay. Well, you go stand out in it, right? Yeah. So what's the hottest game you can remember you ever pitched in?
I think back when I used to play the summer ball and stuff like that, it would creep into the 115s, 116s, and it wasn't fun.
Okay. Growing up as a kid in Arizona, what players did you look up to the most?
Kind of weird for growing up in Arizona, but I was a really big Clayton Kershaw fan growing up.
Nice.
Loved everything he was about, lefty pitcher, found something relatable to him. So I always looked up to him. And a weird one, it was Chris Owings. I went to a D-backs game when I was little, and first ever baseball I got was from him. It was after him and Nick Ahmed played catch. He just tossed it up to me, signed it for me, and it was something I still remember to this day.
Yeah. Nick Ahmed's brother played in Oklahoma City for a while. I got the chance to meet him many different times. So it's amazing how baseball makes the world so small. So, okay, last question for me here and it's one I ask everybody who gets to play for your wonderful, legendary manager, John Shoemaker. Have you ever seen Shoe out of uniform?
I actually have a few times. Anytime we go on a road trip, he's got his good casual wear on, and then a few times if I stay late to get some treatment done or something, I'll see him leaving the stadium not in a uniform. Surprisingly, you would think he goes home to his car in his full uniform, but he actually doesn't.
Okay, I'm sure you're ready to get some R&R in the off season, kind of reset the batteries there, and then get back after for 2026. So, hey, Justin Chambers, it's been a wonderful honor to get to speak with you. You have a ton of momentum and your young career that you have built for yourself. So thank you for coming in and to Dodgers Daily, and congratulations on a wonderful career.
Thank you, Casey. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on today.